Boaz, what is the Hague Convention all about?
Okay. Hague Convention deals with cases and issues when a child is taken from one country to another country with one of the spouses, whether it's with the wife or with the husband. When could this usually happen? This usually happens, for instance, when there's a conflict between a husband and a wife, and they have children, and they're living in one country. The wife's family or the husband's family lives in another country, and that one of the couple decides unilaterally to take the child to his or her family living in that other country. The Hague Convention is a convention signed between most of the European and the Anglo-speaking countries, and also Europe, America, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. According to this convention, a child who was abducted from one country to another, the country who the child has been abducted to is obliged by law to do everything in its power to bring the child immediately back to where the main habitat of the child is. So, for instance, as was in a case which I had a while ago, if a child was taken away from England with the mother to Israel, the court in Israel is obliged to bring the child back to England. This process usually is initiated by an attorney in the country where the child was abducted to. He applies to the court in the relevant country and files the necessary request, and the court has to, within 60 days from the request, to see to it that the child will go back to the country he was taken from. Now, according to the Hague Convention, you cannot usually use very many excuses. For instance, the well-being of the child is better in one country or another. First of all, we have to bring the child to his natural habitat, and there the relevant jurisdiction will decide what the child's well-being is, not the country it was abducted to. As I know the court in Israel, they are bound by the Hague Convention, and they usually do everything in their power with correct representation to bring the child back to the country it was abducted to in a very short period of time. It's very important, if, God forbid, your child was taken, God forbid, to immediately apply to the relevant authority. It's called the national authority in your country for assistance to retain an attorney in the country the child was abducted to, or to get necessary knowledge where the child was abducted to, and to assist to do this as soon and as quickly as possible. And time here is really in the essence, and for that to get representation and advice is important from the first day the abduction was discovered, without any delay at all. It's very, very essential, and that's what that is the main goal of the Hague Convention.